you will find drawing walls to be very, very easy in Design 11. Matter of fact, I tell most people that it's as simple as pointing and typing. Now, the first thing that I do concerning best practices for laying out a kitchen on the screen is I take that piece of paper that I brought back to the job site, the one where we've sketched the walls and typed in or wrote all the dimensions in, and I look at it and decide where I want to start drawing on my 2020 screen. As an example, I typically will look for an opening, a doorway, a hallway, and I will start drawing on the right-hand side of that opening, and I will draw all the way around and end on the left-hand side of that opening. Matter of fact, the kitchen that we're about to work with, I'm actually going to start here on the right-hand side of an opening, and then I'll end right below it on the left-hand side of the opening. Now, when you start your 2020 new, you say you're going to do a new design, the room layout tab automatically opens up. And as a matter of fact, you can literally just click anywhere you want and start drawing walls. But before we do so, I want to explain the icons that you have, the features that you have in the upper left-hand corner, because you may not always be starting with a new plan. You could be adding walls to an existing drawing. Anytime you wish to do that, simply go to Room Layout, and you will see these options. Matter of fact, you will see two sets of options that almost look identical. You will see on the left-hand side, continuous wall, which means it'll keep drawing walls until you tell it to stop. To the right of that, you have an L shape, a U shape, and a square. Those are set shapes. So if I clicked on L, I'm only going to get an L. If I click on U, I'm only going to get a U. I typically design in continuous walls because I can draw L's, U's, closed rooms, as many walls as I want. Now, the same shapes are on the right-hand side here in a feature called continuous construction lines. Now, construction lines mean that when you draw a wall on your plan, it creates a workspace for your cabinetry, so you can do your design, lay out your base cabinets, any wall cabinets, and so forth. But when you go to view them in perspectives, there will not be any walls in the perspective. You've essentially created islands and peninsulas. So typically when I'm drawing a full plan, I'm using continuous, and then I'll go back and maybe add some of the construction lines later on. Now for our plan, we're going to start in the lower left-hand corner. So we can either click here, or if that doesn't work for you, go up and click on continuous, the solid line, click in the lower left-hand corner, and simply take your mouse and point up. The benefit of pointing up is that's showing you the direction. If I wanted the first wall to go to the right, I would just point to the right. If I wanted to go to the left, I'd point left. Matter of fact, as you watch, the wall follows my mouse in whatever direction I wish. And it moves in 45-degree intervals. If you look on the left-hand side over here, this is showing you all the dimensions that you need. Here's your length, and here's your angle. Now, every wall, I'm going to repeat this, every wall defaults to 90 degrees unless you tell it otherwise. That's going to be important in just a moment. So I'm going to point up, and then I'm going to let go of my mouse. And the reason I'm letting go is if I hold the mouse and type on the keyboard, if I happen to move the mouse, it might be changing the dimensions I'm typing. So I let go of the mouse, and on the keyboard, I'll type in my first dimension. My first dimension is 232 and 7/16 of an inch. I'll type in 232. I'll hit the space bar on my keypad and type in 7/16. Once I've typed in 232 and 7/16, I hit enter. Now my next wall, I can grab hold of the mouse and point a direction, but since it's going to be 90 degrees, I don't have to. I can simply type the dimension in, 201 space 1/16. Hit enter. There's my wall. My next wall is going to be 227 1/4, and it's also a 90-degree angle. So I don't have to touch the mouse, but if I wanted to, I could take the mouse, move it around so I can actually see the direction that the wall's moving. I can let go of it, and I could type in 227. Now, if you remember, I said 227 1/4. So far, I've been typing in whole numbers and then fractions. I go like 201 space 1/16. Well, I can use decimals if I want to as well. So I could type in 227.24. Let me do that again, 0.25 as in 1/4, 227.25, and hit enter, and there's my wall. Now my next wall is going to be on an angle, and you're going to notice that that wall is actually going to come down here to the left a bit, but I'm running out of room. If I want to adjust this, see this bar right here and see this bar right here, I have the ability to grab these and move my plan around. So I can move this up and then I could grab hold of this bar and move my plan around to the left here a little bit. And then we can simply point where we want the next wall to go. Now don't worry about this line right here. That's actually a ghost image that's about to disappear. So if I point on an angle and say my length is going to be 87 and 15/16, all I have to do is type in 87 space 15/16, hit enter. You'll notice my wall snapped into place, the ghost image has disappeared, and I'm on to drawing the next wall. The next wall is also going to be a 135-degree angle that you right there. You will see that right there. And the final wall is going to be 146 and 7/16. I'll type in 146 space 7/16 and hit enter. Now I'm done. When I am finished drawing walls, the way I tell the system to stop, remember we're using continuous walls, which means it continues until we tell it to stop. The way we tell it to stop is we hit the escape key in the upper left-hand corner of your keyboard, and it will stop drawing walls. You actually notice the walls with all the dimensions on the screen. Now, I have the ability to make quick adjustments to this. I can hold the wheel down on my mouse and move this around. I can roll the wheel back so I can adjust where I see it on the screen or zoom in and zoom out. Or there's a quick way to do this. If I double click on the wheel, it actually centers the kitchen right in the middle of my screen so I can see all the walls, and now I can begin placing my windows and doors.